Hi, I'm Falk, and today I want to give you a beginner lesson on cross-sticking and when do we use it and why do we use it. Basically, one reason why we use it is if the song or the music you're playing along to needs to drop a little bit dynamically, what you can do instead of hitting the snare drum on counts 2 and 4 or wherever the snare drum is, what you can do is you can add a cross-sticking. And it basically just means you set the butt of the stick down the snare and hit the rim like that. Another reason people do it is they would like a different sound. So not only dynamically, some songs I would assume actually raise dynamically when you add the cross-sticking, or you go from not having any sort of backbeat to all of a sudden having the cross-stick on the backbeat counts 2 and 4 or whatever it is. And so first I want to just teach you guys how I cross-stick and what I do when I cross-stick, and we'll talk about flipping a stick over and stuff like that. A lot of times if I'm playing something faster, like you saw the intro there, I was doing a 16th note pattern here, and I didn't actually flip the stick over. So the way I was doing cross-sticking, I was holding it just like this, okay? And then basically my hand would just set the stick down on the drum. And now one thing you guys want to notice, and this is what I try and do most of the time, is I try and keep these fingers a little bit below the stick, okay? So I don't want to keep the stick like that, but I want to keep it a little bit below the stick. Then what happens is when I set the stick down on the drum, the stick automatically rests a little bit off of the rim, okay? So if I push this tip down, you hear it. It's not resting on the rim, because if I push down here, you're not hearing anything, right? So I keep my fingers down a little bit, and I'm not gripping super tight or anything, but now I'm a little bit off the rim. And I find I get more of a woody tone of the cross stick. And so this is kind of the technique you want to use when cross-sticking. Now a lot of players you'll see actually flip the stick over because they feel they get a bigger or a thicker cross-stick sound, or just a better cross-stick sound. And that is totally fine if that's what you want to do. Sometimes the challenge is obviously flipping it back to your playing position, right? So we got to flip it like this, and then you got to flip it back. And if you're playing in a gig or something and you're not 100% comfortable with that, you might just want to stick with this, especially if you have to switch in and out of the cross stick to a regular snare stroke a lot of the times. So basically that's that's when you want to use cross-sticking, that's why you want to use cross-sticking, and that's how you want to use cross-sticking. And so what I've done is I've basically just written out a bunch of exercises here that deal with incorporating cross-sticking within your grooves, all right? And so there's just some beginner exercises, and what you want to eventually practice is practice playing the groove with the snare as your main accent, or where the cross sticks are written, and then actually playing a couple bars with an actual cross stick, and then going in and out of that. So let me just play exercise 1 for you. I'm going to play it at 70 beats per minute, and I'm going to play and start with the cross-sticking groove, and then I'm actually going to move to the snare groove, and then back to the cross-stick groove, just to kind of give you an example of how that looks. That's the first exercise. Now let's jump on to the second one. The second one basically has a cross stick on all 4 counts. So count 1, 2, 3, and 4. So you just want to get comfortable using this technique, and especially going in and out of it. And then what you want to do is you want to listen to music and hear where drummers are using it, because that's what's kind of going to give you the idea of when you should use it with your band, or when you should use it with the music that you're playing to. So let's just try number 2 again at 70 beats per minute. And I'm going to play this, the cross-sticking version first, and then we're going to go to snare, and then we're going to go back to the cross-sticking. So the next thing I want to talk to you guys about is actually using the cross stick with the butt end of the stick and then flipping back to use the tip of the stick for a snare shot. So exercise 3 kind of deals with that. We have a cross stick on count 2, which we're going to be playing with the butt end of the stick, and then I'm going to flip it and hit the snare shot on count 4. And so what you have to think about is, when you do this, is how are you going to flip the stick over? What kind of motion are you going to do? Do you actually want to flip it like that, which is basically, I'm just tipping like that. It's relatively easy. Or do you want to not actually let go of the stick and just kind of spin it in your fingers like that? So we've got one of that close up here for you guys to kind of look at exactly what I'm doing. So this is one way, okay? Ready position, the butt end of the stick, and then back to the playing position up here. Or the ready position, butt end of the stick, flip like that, okay? So you can choose to do whatever you want. I'm going to demo exercise 3 for you at 70 beats per minute. We'll see how it looks and sounds. It's a big challenge to actually switch every single time like that. So if you had a song, unless you were very, very confident to actually switch every 2 beats, I'd recommend either just sticking with the butt of the stick and actually hitting the snare with the butt end of the stick. There's no rules against that, okay? The drum referee isn't going to come down and cast you out because you're playing the snare drum with the butt end of the stick, so don't worry about that. But if you feel comfortable, you're more than welcome to flip it or spin it in your hand. Another thing you guys will notice that was an issue even here was my right hand on the hi-hat, right? Now every time I want to switch or flip, I actually have to pull my hand out, flip it, then bring it back in. And when I actually bring it back in, sometimes you notice the tip of the stick hits the snare and you get that little bit of a sound there, right? In the studio or somewhere, they're not going to want that. And so a lot of times, I'll just focus on not hitting the tip of the stick on the rim, like I don't want this. So you're not going to get that kind of tone out of the drum. You're not going to get that woody sound. So I just make sure you move the stick up, and then what you do is you find the sweet spot of drum. And every drum is a little bit different, but normally you won't want to hit the cross stick, on the tip of the stick. You want to hit it kind of more on the shoulder, okay? So let's look at the fourth exercise. This one we're actually incorporating some 16th notes within the cross sticking. And what I want to talk to you about this is actually changing the dynamic of the cross stick. So making the 2 and the 4, cross stick, the kind of backbeat, the louder ones, and then making the cross sticks on the A of 2 and the E of 3 more ghosted cross sticking. Okay, so that'll just it's going to help you develop more control when you create your own grooves, okay? Because that's what's most important. These are some of my grooves, or they're not like I made them up for the first time ever. They're grooves people have been playing for a long time, so they're more generic. So when you do come up with your own, you'll be able to actually add that dynamic flavor in there, okay? So let me play this one for you guys, again, at 70 beats per minute. So having control of the dynamic level of the cross stick is also very important. And then also the placement, right? We're putting it on the different 16th notes, places that you normally add ghost notes and stuff like that. All right, so now let's look at the final exercise. This is just another variation where we're not having the cross stick on counts 2 and 4, okay? Like the cross sticking is used everywhere. It's used in jazz, it's used in Latin, it's used in tons and tons of different styles of music. So I've just given you some applications, and these are more just basic rock applications. The last one, number 5, could be considered more of a funk groove or something like that, but it's just going to help you get out of the mindset of always having the cross stick on counts 2 and counts 4. You can definitely change it up when you create your own grooves. So let me play this one for you guys again at 70 beats per minute. So I hope you enjoyed this lesson on cross-sticking. Please just download the sheet music for it. You can take it to your kit. You can take your time practicing it. If you're not on drumlessons.com, you just got to head over to the website and download it. If you are, you'll see it right below the video. All right, guys, thanks so much for watching this video. I'll see you in the intermediate cross-sticking drum lesson. Bye. To get a different You think I'm stupid? You think I can't push a button? I don't need you to come over and do it. What is cross-sticking? Because this is using the butt of the stick to a cross stick. You all right?
Yeah, I just didn't know you were going to start. So.
Okay. Let me know when you're ready.
Sorry about that.
No? It's all right.